Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the South Star Classroom. I almost wanted to go and say our original, when we started back, common sense. But then everybody started using common sense, and it was rough over there. But welcome back to another episode. And this week we got the whole crew. I think David coming. I think so. You know what I'm saying? But if not, we got to start with the very debonair. You know what I'm saying? The very smooth and suave. You got the glasses with the brim. Omar, what's going on with you in your life, brother? We love this fall look, B. What's good?
Man, I got this here hat in Australia, man. It's a nice ass hat for cold ass weather, baby. And sometimes, you got the hair, right? But then sometimes the hair just like, good, but you want a different look, or it's all over the place and it's cold outside. Just a nice little hat, man. Look all different and shit. You know what I'm saying? And El Paso never get too cold. So if it gets a little cold, it's I like to take it out every now and again. It'll help out a lot more when I'm in Colorado. See, when you started giving all these compliments, I definitely thought we were talking about the radiant, the beautiful, the magnificent.
She ain't the only one that can get nice compliments. She is beautiful. She looks. The three of us compliment Jubilee to death, and then we talk about emotions for her. And then we talk about emotions for her all the time.
I got emotions.
Omar, you get to be handsome, brother. You get to, you know what I'm saying? We got you. You good?
I love you, Doc. Thanks, man.
I got you,
brother. I love you all.
Sounds like Charles thinks that you all do too much for me as the only,
I never said that.
That's what it sounded like. I'm not saying you said that. I'm just saying that's like how it landed, over here.
She's your queen.
I love it. Y'all are hilarious, man. Well, Omar, how you doing, How you doing, Omar? Let me let you finish your check-in, brother.
I will be short, man. I'm all right. I know everyone always wants to hear, hey, I'm great and things are going great, but I don't think that's realistic. I think people have difficult times and difficult moments in their life, and they don't often hear how we navigate them or what we do in order to feel good during, or not feel good in a, I'm going to go out and tie one on way, but like, how do we navigate difficult times? I'm going through a very difficult time. Texas and anyone in K through 12 education is experiencing extreme financial difficulties. We have lost a ton of federal funding. We've lost a ton of state funding, all of which ain't going to come back for another few years. But I think the state of education is changing dramatically. Anyways, we are seeing more kids going to homeschool, more kids out of the system, more kids wanting something different. And I even think it's time for EPLA to start making some of those fundamental changes to its high school curriculum, to start adapting to what's necessitated and what's needed. Ideas that we talk about on the show need to start coming to fruition. We're going through a difficult time, but I will say that amongst difficult times, I am very lucky to have a family that I love and loves me, and an incredible sister and brother-in-law, a group of colleagues on this show that I deeply respect and deeply love talking that shit with. And it's just like, man, it fulfills my heart to just do this show just for the simple fact that I get to see you all and talk that shit. So
well, we got you, brother. You know what's funny, Omar? We're gonna get the rest of the check-ins. I've invited. I've been in some big kind of groups. There's some big news coming from DC about the education department. But I was on that call and I invited all these kind of dignitaries to watch the show today. So be yourself.
Like when you say be yourself. You want me to be the unfiltered, ludicrously loud?
Listen. We all adults. If you got to curse, you got to curse. I don't know if we need 3 Fs in a row. I mean, y'all. I don't know if y'all know. Omar got me banned for a little bit on TikTok when we were doing a live stream. So we've lost some endorsements, but it's okay. It's all love. I got you. But so
But
that is
today,
a
just
producer
let
moment.
it roll, let it fly, baby, let it fly.
That is a producer moment, but I do want this group of people that I invited to watch the show because I think it's an important show. But I love you, O, and be you. David, I love that hat. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. Definitely, like, I think what was it? Today's Tuesday. So when did we got news on Friday that a coach, an educator, a leader in the city of Oakland had been shot and killed. His name was Coach Beam. He was based out of Laney College, the athletic director, but he was the longtime football coach there and the longtime football coach at Skyline High School in Oakland. If you're familiar with the Last Chance U Netflix series, there's one about him and the Laney College football team. So I highly recommend you going to watch that. It's just another like senseless act of violence. And, really, I mean, I text you about it, Charles, and, it's amazing. There's so many people out there that are doing work and impacting generation after generation of young people. And every now and again, something happens like this, and it's an act of violence to just take somebody from us before their time, and it brought up a lot of I don't know what you call it, like secondary trauma with Dirk, because he was another close friend and colleague and brother of ours that was taken also in Oakland, California, as a result of gun violence. And I mean, just to Omar's point, life's okay, but it's like it also feels like there's just a lot happening in that city, which I care deeply about. A lot of my clients are there, and they're experiencing it in different ways. So that's the state of the world,
Hey, I'm gonna definitely touch on that a little bit of my check-in as well, man. RIP Coach Beam. Most of Oakland knew Coach Beam. A lot of people in NFL because of Coach Beam. NBA, NFL, all that stuff. He just was a pillar in Oakland and this senseless shooting, man. And Chicago got some stuff happening too as well. But the queen of our show, that we do make sure we her regality. Miss Jubilee, what's going on with you? Talk to us.
I mean, it's a lot going on. My focus is just on finishing strong. That's it. Like, you got a set of 10 push-ups and you're at the 9th one when you just want to like lay down. You're like, that's enough. I don't have any more. But my focus is I got one more in me, and that's it. A lot going on. Same, like everything that you all have shared, it resonates and touches me deeply because, our district, we have a bunch of cuts going on, tens and millions of dollars. I also am inspired. Like it's challenging and it's terrible in all things, but there's also a little inspiration there because I'm also seeing glimmers of hope through innovation. Right. So it's like we're losing money here, but then like, all right, so what can we do over here? So I see communities galvanizing. I see, politicians galvanizing and just trying to figure out like, how do we still stay ahead when something was taken away from us and, seemingly has put us so far behind. But like, what are some of the things that we can do? Like, we're not going to wait on things to get better for the government to change and people to actually start caring about public education. Like the ball is in our court in some kind of way. And how can we bounce it in such a way where it's going to help us to make a basket? So
our kids are in school today. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, you sound like me. You're usually the hopeful one. So, I think, I think there's a good balance and a good mix of like pushing systems to get better. But at some point, it's kind of like, when that system ain't doing what it needs to do, the government was shut down for 40 some days. I've been spending money on people and family and friends that check didn't come and groceries are expensive. And my thing is, as somebody who grew up on welfare, I want people to get what they need. But I'm also looking at my people like, this shit can happen again. Like, what are we doing? What's the plan? And like, let's figure that out. You know what I'm saying? So it's rough out there for people. I think my check-in is pretty similar. I think there's a lot running a company right now. We are all of us run something. Funding is Everybody's scared with the money. It's a little, everybody kind of holding on to stuff, don't really know what's happening. We have to, we're all in pretty much a recession. It's all but here. And the decisions that people are making, that means dividends are lowered. That means people that normally give out money might not be giving out as much. It's a lot of stuff. So we just gotta, we gotta deal with it. We gotta be ready for it. But Coach Beam really hurt. And in a story, not similar, but in the same vein, David, and Jude. So in Chicago, a few days ago, some kids were messing with this child. Child goes, gets his mom. Mom is trying to, like, yo, calm that down. The kids jumped the mom and the kid and the sister.
Wait,
These
what?
are children. Yeah. This is right now. This is happening. Like, this is where the world is right now, man. Everything is just turned in a different level, or like targeting somebody like Coach Beam. It's, it is what it is. Jube, if you keep having Wi-Fi issues, it's all good. You might have to if you turn your video off, it might help you out a little bit.
Doc, I was like, I don't know if we could ever do a show on it, if it'd be like enough, but I was reading an NPR article. You guys probably saw it, where like it's an all-time high of liberals and Democrats buying weapons. And like, my question is like, not just a show about the Second Amendment, but like, what the fuck is going on? Like, where are we as a society that we feel the need to now arm ourselves to the teeth to get into ludicrous bouts of violence against our own family, which is like, I just got to tell you, just from a personal perspective, that's insanity. And that would have been suicide for me. My father grew up like literally fighting thugs and drunk soldiers in Juarez. He could beat the shit out of any human being on the face of the planet. That was the last person I would ever start a fight with, is my father. And not for the fear of it all, but like out of just a genuine level of respect, that even like, I don't know, man, like even if my elders, right, are wrong, I show deep love, gratitude, and respect for them.
Yeah, and that's the breakdown of community, right? Because the way I grew up, if a child was putting hands on a woman, and they were a child, the community would have reprimanded them and then took them home, and their parents would have reprimanded them too. So I think that like we're just in a different time, and I'm not gonna say that's a black thing. I think that happens in other cultures as well, right? Like but I'm down for that. I know our show only being an hour is a little tough, but we'll do a after dark episode, South Star after dark, Omar. And that means David and Jude can join if they want. I don't be wanting to hold them for too much longer. I feel bad when we go 15 minutes over, but but I am one of those liberals that I've had my gun license and concealed carry for a long time. Y'all have always known that.
Me too.
If you here and you with me in Chicago, it's on me. I'm trained and things like that, but where I'm from has always been Democrat. Like, remember, I told y'all this after the Charlie Kirk thing, and I went to the gun range. Remember, Charlie is from not far from here. That was the most packed I've ever seen the range, and that was families of all colors. That was both parties. You could tell it was both parties there, and everybody gets along in the gun range, though. I'm just letting you know that. So, but we got to unpack that later. But I do have a show. People that's watching, I promise you, the whole show won't be depressing. It's fall. The weather's changing. It gets dark at 2 p.m. Like, people are going through it, but hopefully there's some hope in this show. I'm saying that because I'm about to do a story, and the story is gonna feel depressing, but we got you. We got some recourse for you. So today, and I did an episode on this on my podcast, Color Commentary. So I'm gonna just bring the intro, and it has the details. We're talking about something that would reshape Black and brown futures for the next generation. New federal student loan rules just cleared a major hurdle at the U.S. Department of Education, and there will be some more big announcements from the U.S. Department of Education. Remember, if you want to know more about that, go look at one of our old shows. It's listed. I don't know the number, where we break down what it means when they're trying to close down the department. Basically, they're about to start outsourcing certain departments to certain things to other departments within the White House. So it's going to be interesting. But this happened last week. On the surface, these reforms sound reasonable. Cap excessive borrowing, simplify repayment, hold predatory colleges accountable. But when you read the fine print, and I mean really read it, you start to see how these rules have fundamentally changed who gets to become a doctor, a lawyer, a social worker, or a principal in our communities. This isn't just policy. This is about pipelines. This is about who gets locked out before they even start. And let's break it down. But before we break it down, let me make sure you all out there know exactly what we're talking about. The U.S. Department of Ed has cleared this regulatory hurdle, which allows sweeping changes. The stated goals of these reforms are what I just said, the repayment and all that stuff, because we have such a huge debt. I myself, with all the shit that I do, I'm still 6 figures well in debt as far as loans and things are concerned, right? So here's what's changing. Graduate and professional school borrowing caps. The open-ended grad plus loan program is being eliminated. In its place, new borrowing limits are being imposed. Most graduate students will be limited to a roughly $20,500 per year with a lifetime cap around $100,000. Students pursuing professional degrees, which is law, medicine, going for a doctorate, going for that master's degree, will be capped at roughly $50,000 per year with a lifetime cap of around $200,000 and an overall limit in the mid $200,000 range. Plus, the parent plus loans and other borrowing options are also being tightened, particularly for future borrowers. So if you've done it this year, you should still be smooth. But for those that are going next year, and not just, you might be in college now, but if you're trying to go to grad school next year, these might take effect. There's going to be changes to income-driven repayment plans, which I do benefit from. Existing income-driven repayment plans, which is Pay, ICR, Save, SAVE, and Repay, and others are being phased out completely. To understand what's being eliminated, here's what those plans are. Pay as you earn is Pay, P-A-Y-E. Caps monthly payments at 10% of discretionary income with loan forgiveness after 20 years of qualifying payments. ICR, income contingent repayment, caps repayments at 20% of discretionary income or what you'd pay on a fixed 12-year plan, whichever is less, with forgiveness after 25 years. Save, or saving on a valuable education, the newest plan, caps payments at 5% of discretionary income for undergraduate loans and 10% for graduate loans with forgiveness after 10 to 25 years, depending on loan amount. And then finally, Repay, revised Pay as you earn, caps payments at 10% of discretionary income for all borrowers with forgiveness after 20 years for undergrad and 25 for graduate. All those are gone. They're gone. The system is moving toward fewer repayment options centered on a new plan called the Repayment Assistant Plan, which is called, ready for this, people? Because we're culturally relevant, RAP. The new plan is RAP. RAP shit.
Oh, insulting.
This plan will be used. This plan will base monthly payments on borrowers' income, but will stretch out both repayment and forgiveness timelines compared to current programs. College accountability measures. New accountability rules will tighten oversight of colleges and universities. Programs with weak earnings outcomes and high debt to earnings ratios for graduates may face penalties or lose access to the federal financial aid. And there's been a lot of criticism of these reforms, as you can see. I'm one of those people. I've been kind of yelling about this all week. And those clips are doing well. Thank y'all. All those clips are over like 2,000 or 3,000 views. I appreciate it. Critics of these changes argue that they will disproportionately harm low income and Black and brown borrowers. They warn that borrowing caps will limit access to graduate and professional degrees, and that tighter rules will make it harder for students harmed by predatory institutions to get debt relief. That is the news, people. I do have questions, but I think our reactions to this and how you're processing this is even more important than those questions. I don't care if we get through the two main questions I had. David, as our resident OG and my OG, and just, I just think we got to start with the beard of knowledge / wisdom, because I still don't know what the official name is. But how are you feeling about that? What's your reaction?
Oh man, I was. This is new information for me, so I find it.
I produced that for you, brother. I got you.
Yeah, I find it troubling. I wouldn't go as far as to say that we are like going through a process of deprofessionalization, but professional access to careers and you know, that require advanced education, it feels like this new change would add several barriers for not for people like us, period. And it seems like we're moving away from, you know, a system of what we call like merit to like, what does your, you know, family's balance sheet look like, to be able to you know, support you in your educational endeavors. So a lot of red flags for me, but we can definitely dig in.
Yeah, I feel the same way. A lot of red flags, and the fact that they called it rap is sending me because I want them to publicize.
Call me and ask me for my opinion. You know, I was like, go with rap. You know, get a
right.
detail.
Like, show us that clip in this conference room or wherever, whoever was in there, where they were like, well, we should call it rap. Like, you know,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the kids love rap.
Right, like, well, rap from the bodega. What kind of rap we talking about? Which kind of, the bodega rap? The Ice
Yeah,
Cube
it's actually spelled W-R-A-P.
AP, right?
Saran wrap.
Right, Saran rap, Tupac rap.
It's just RAP, man. It's repayment assistant plan.
Oh my God, no W, just the RAP.
Yeah.
Right. RIP to the RAP. How about that?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Ooh,
I don't have any other thoughts besides like again, just creating or maintaining the haves and the have-nots. That's what this really is. And so clearly we're gonna have to get Sister Mary Lou to teach us in a one-room schoolhouse, because that's the only thing that they probably will let us have, you know. Anyway, all right, I'm throwing it to you, Omar.
Yeah. Oh man, you didn't want to throw it to me, man. Like this. First off, this shit corny as all living hell. Rap. What it reminds me of, which I find to be particularly apropos, is Dare. So y'all remember the Dare program, right? It was these folks went into school with their like shitty rap songs. Be like, don't do drugs, and it stood for drug abuse resistance education. And, you know, they went to elementary schools and were like, we're never going to do drugs. And then what wound up happening was
Shout out Nancy Reagan.
Yeah. Shout out Nancy fucking Reagan. Cool, because then all the white kids who went on and did cocaine in copious amounts got no penalties.
Wait, I ain't never get another sponsor. I showed y'all the monster. Did I show y'all the monster application? We can just rip that up. It's all good. Go ahead.
They need to be supporting. Monster don't like the truth. Oh, Monster don't like the truth. They don't like the history of the United States.
Monster, you are absolutely great. That was not a Red Bull I was drinking, and disregard what Omar said. I'm trying to run a goddamn business here, Omar. I'm trying to run a company, Omar.
Meanwhile, crack 18 times.
Wait, side note,
penalty.
I have to say this. I showed my children the video with the egg, you know, where they put the egg in the frying pan.
Yeah, Johnny Depp and the don't do
on drugs. I promise. I'm like, leave with me, come back with me to my childhood so I can show you how they stopped everyone from getting on crack. Anyhow, go ahead.
Indeed, or whatever it was that they were trying to talk about.
I have a funny Dare story. I have so many funny Dare stories. Yeah, the branding, that shirt. If I can find those shirts right now, though, those shirts with some black and red 11s, with some black and red Jordan 11s. Oh my God, it is incredible. Those shirts are awesome.
Man, they had a branding game and everything. And I mean, the truth of it was like, all right, cool. Listen, man, I'm all for like the information of what happens, but that was never what it was. It was like, drugs are bad, okay? They just sounded like Mr. Mackey, like drugs are bad, okay? And if you're black or brown, drugs are bad. And if you're white, drugs are bad. But it was never educational. It was corny as shit. It wasn't helpful. I mean, I would have much rather been like, hey, what does this actually do? And then I could have made the decision myself. Oh, crack and cocaine are essentially the same thing. One's a bit more of a concentrated form, but they're going to have the same effects, same reactions, same difficulties. Why don't I just choose neither one? And then ultimately, we all know what happened with Dare. We all know how it, I don't know if you all know the scandals behind the misappropriation of money behind Dare, but that was also another fun scandal. And rap just sounds like, let's create another bullshit situation and literally wrap it up in this like preposterous Christmas wrapping and give it to everybody and say, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I would
I
say
don't like it, Doc. I don't like it. But I do like Monster.
I got that.
And the coffee drink is particularly actually quite good.
I mean, the coffee drink is good. And I feel bad. I'm gonna switch me to the bottom because I hate when y'all face is covered up by the comments. But I would say I'll make the statement
Cover
first.
my face up, baby.
It's all good, man. No, we just
Cover
talking
my
about how handsome
face.
you were, brother. You got the hat on. People need to see you.
Man.
As the young people will say, you put that ish on, Omar, because I'm trying to get my sponsors back. Stop, Jubilee. We are grown, Jubilee. You can't do it. Where's your son at right now to be embarrassed?
Pre-show notes. You're like, hey man, just be yourself. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna let it fly. And then you're like, God dang it, Omar.
We're gonna get such a lashing from Charles. We're gonna get such a lashing.
Listen, I want to pick up Waffle House as a client.
David,
I want to pick up Nevaeh as a client.
David,
I think I missed. Did you all like communicate ahead of time and say that we're going to take edibles an hour before the show,
brother?
Listen, man.
Listen, we are going to make David quit, and I don't want to lose David. Okay, this is serious. David, please don't leave us, David. I'm sorry. We will behave ourselves.
I'm having a blast.
Omar, we will do South Star Classroom after dark, Omar. I promise you.
Excellent.
I promise you. I'll say
you want me to come back into the PG-13 era?
No, it's all good. I mean, anyway, because they're gone. This is gone. We lost it, but it's fine. But no, I was gonna say, but in all seriousness, though, I understand the logic. And I'm going to get us there from a nuanced way. I understand the logic, right? A lot of these loans have been running crazy, rampant. Like there's been a lot of stuff. And when you're 18 years old and they having you sign stuff that you don't understand, your parents don't understand. And I don't know how the loan has gotten bigger over all these years, but it has. And my loans got bundled up and sold a bunch of times. So I understand the government saying, hey, we got to find a way to fix this. But what this is, I think it's discriminatory. Let me just be very clear. If this stuff takes effect in 2001, there is no Dr. Cole in front of you. I am not here. I do not have any. I'm not a social worker. I don't have a master's in public administration. I don't have a doctorate because my family didn't have that type of bread to be able to do that. And while I am somebody that talks about vocational careers all the time, Jubilee, thank you for the link earlier. Like we talk about the love of it. And I think those are great jobs, and we need to occupy that. And I think we also need to occupy these. You need Black and brown lawyers. You need Black and brown principals. You need Black and brown like social workers. Part of the reason my career skyrocketed and why I did get a boost is because there were so few Black male social workers, and I got so much business because we can't send women into certain households where there is a 15-year-old boy on the spectrum that has behaviors. The first case I had, this 15-year-old kid heard no and threw a refrigerator. Like we can't send Jubilee into that home. But that doesn't happen if I'm not able to attend college or grad school. And what this is doing and why I had such a visceral reaction is I know who's going to lose out on these opportunities. It's not going to be the kids who can already take a year or two off because their parents are going to pay for everything anyway and go find themselves in Europe and then come back. That's not who is going to impact in the same way. And I know I say black and brown, but this is going to impact a lot of Asian people, a lot of white people, there are so many people that depend on favorable loans in order to further their career. We have to still invest in the future of our country. We still have to invest in professionals, and it matters that in a lot of these professions that I'm talking about are lagging behind with Black and brown people in the community, in Black and brown communities as these professionals. So that's only going to be exacerbated. And I think that's the ultimate thing that it kind of bothered for me. So, while our other folks, it's me and you right now for a second, man, I just want to ask you, Omar, do these new rules actually make college safer and more affordable? Or do they lock us into a two-tier system that benefits the wealthy? And before you answer, I know this isn't the best question because it's I made it binary. Go where you need to, because I'm really not trying to lead the witness, but I wanted to really grasp the immediate nature of this problem. I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
I was muted. Thank you. It's going to seem a bit tangential. I'll get to it. So I was on this fascinating phone call, Doc, this past weekend. I think it was like Thursday. And a friend of my brother-in-law, who also went to Stanford, mentioned, hey, like, we've got some prospective people who are applying to Stanford without, giving away the house in any way, shape, or form. How can you help someone kind of go and understanding the application, the interview process? By the way, this is something that people pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars an hour for the advice from someone like me or from my sister or my brother-in-law, who all went to these schools, who knew what we got into. And it was a phenomenal young woman who, wound up inventing this apparatus and essentially wanted to combine engineering into how engineering can actually help social good, or help the social good of folks who are dealing with some level of difficulty in life. And I was like, look, this is awesome. But think about this moment, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
He has the privilege and ability of speaking to 3 Stanford graduates about her impending application, which is just such an exclusivity component that, yes, it's awesome that it was coming from 3 Mexican people who did not have the money to get into a place like Stanford, who, much like you, wound up getting in as a result of, like, hey, we knew something about the process, but we were lucky enough to have it. I think that the current administration, Doc, is saying, I don't want the Omar Yanars of the world. And I don't want the Soraya Yanars of the world. And I don't want them helping out other brown and black kids. This young lady, brown student. I don't want the Dr. Charles Coles of the world. I think what they're trying to do is create this way around the racial component of it and get into the pocketbook component of it, to say, let's just get you out of the affordability, and then let's get you out of the know-how of even how to get into these places, and sever that tie of the Omars helping out, the other students of the world. Let's just absolutely create this kind of stratification, because in the next question, Doc, I think that this aligns very much, and apologies if this hurts our monster sponsorship.
It's okay.
But you have an unadulterated white nationalist agenda that people forget about, like Jeff Sessions and what's his face, not Bezos, the guy who owns Breitbart, who I don't even know if he's with Breitbart anymore.
I know you're talking about the weird face news. I got you.
Yeah, I'll think of his name in a second.
Bannon?
These two created, Steve Bannon. Thank you.
Mhm.
These guys created this formula that became Project 2025.
His face looks like rigor mortis is kind of set in already.
Yeah, this isn't conspiracy theory, gentlemen. This is public documentation that no one wants to actually look up and read. And their tenets of this is really devised on, hey, we have a declining population in the United States, period. But particularly of white Christians. We need to solve that because they feel white Christians should continue being in charge of the United States. How do we do that? Let's tamper down on immigration. Dude, my brother-in-law was just telling me, David, I don't know if you know this, brother. This just recently was happening. Buses of people going back to Mexico, or individuals going back to Mexico are getting stopped on their way to Mexico and being asked for papers. Because if they don't have the papers that showed that they could have legally been in the United States, they're getting arrested just to up the arrest rates. These are people literally going back to Mexico permanently, by the way.
Yeah.
Because of what's going on here, which, you know, I would think that this administration would be all for. They're spending over $3,000 a day on the jail rates. So people can't buy eggs, people can't buy gas, people can't buy food, but you're willing to spend $3,000 a day on arresting someone who's literally going back to Mexico. This is a pattern, Doc.
That's ridiculous.
This is creating a stratification. Of course, this is creating a two-tier system. Of course, this is benefiting the wealthy, because the wealthy, Doc, for the most part in this country have been white. And yes, they allow some of us to seep through, just as like, see, we're not racist. There's Omar. He didn't have any money. He got to Stanford and Harvard. Or like, hey, that person, you know, they're black. They have money. See, we're not racist. They allow those things, Doc, to happen in order to basically eschew any, not just responsibility, but plausible deniability.
Mhm.
So, fuck yeah. I think that this is absolutely driven to create a two-year system, because, brother, how else do we afford this? And then how else do they lock people out from prestigious organizations, or any organization for that matter? It's just like, shit, Doc, what would you have done? What would I have done had we not had the ability to get some loans and some support? David,
I don't think
same
any
thing
of
for
us.
you.
I don't think any of us would be here.
No,
Right.
I wouldn't. Fuck no, I would. Not even remotely.
And
what I
it
worry
feels
about-
very. It feels very. There's like an element of paternalism here, where you have, you know, quote unquote, small government MAGA people using the arm of government to say we're going to protect these you know, low to middle income potential borrowers, you know, from predatory or taking out excessive loans. I get that part, but then they're failing to actually protect the system, or to provide real, like, low cost or on the backside, like repayment, you know, options for people to go into particular fields. So it's like, okay, we're gonna protect you on the front end, but it really means that we're taking away opportunity, right? So I agree there, and I think at a time when we know, we talk about education, but we can talk about any kind of field that requires advanced degrees, you know, high paying, you know, careers. You know, our people are vastly underrepresented. And then when we talk about education, you know, it's the same there at a time when we know, when the research says that students learn best when the educators in front of them look like them, at a time in this country when, at least in public education, sure as hell in Chicago, sure as hell in California, as well as Texas, like our demographics are shifting, right?
Yeah.
And so that it does seem like they can say, oh, we're making these changes, they're race blind, you know, but really they're not race blind. That's the issue that I have with this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the two of you are as political nerds as I am. And it was the famous conversation Ronald Reagan had with Andrew Card, where it's like, hey, we can't say Jim Crow and segregation anymore. We're just going to use states' rights. That's going to be that's going to be the moniker for segregation, states' rights. And that's what people don't understand about states' rights. I was like, every time you say that, you are unknowingly, sometimes knowingly, an accomplice for segregation and resegregation. And I got to tell you, like, yes, we have our conversations about the benefits of like Black and brown schools. And I see the benefit in anything that will help a child. But I am what I would consider to be an old school liberal. I like being around everyone else, man.
Yeah.
I do not want to be in a self-segregated society of just Latinos, which El Paso kind of is. But I loved being in the Bay. I loved being around everybody at the same time and in a bar or in a restaurant and everyone's there. I miss it immensely. And I feel as if these are the kind of underlying programs, Doc, that play the long game.
Yeah,
it's the long game. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, look, we're a very young country. We are a very young nation, and like a group of people with shared ideologies is like it's very young compared. Like if you look at Chinese empires, it's thousands of years old. Like we're under 500 years old here for the most part. A little more, right? But the point that I'm making is when you look at this, right, it's like let me lay it out, because I think sometimes people will be like, well, you missing some of the big pieces. Was this stuff predatory before? Yes. It was bad before. Like it has been terrible. And some things have to get fixed. The same way, like with Obamacare, there's some things that need to be fixed. It did what it needed to do. A lot of people are not aware of like how these premiums. I am, because I run a company and I have to sign off on like, oh, here's our healthcare, and those premiums have shifted. It's big, right? So I think those things need to be fixed, but you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think that there has been a series of things needed here where it's like, hey, we are losing this international base that we talked about. We're having this thing with immigration. We need menial workers again. We need people doing this stuff. And if you get these Negroes and you get these brown cats, you get them out these colleges and these highfalutin jobs, these stinky jobs, we can probably bring some factories back. We can probably do that, right? But I think that we have to have some real honest conversation. When you talk about this two-tier system, it is really about there's a group of people that they feel has the right to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if you born poor here, we don't really feel like you got the right to it and you taking it from somewhere else. Now, I will say this. I get what you're saying, Omar. I want to just make this statement. I know I'm going a little long, but I think it's important for our audience. There's a difference between segregation and choice. Segregation is a doctrine by law that tells me what I can't do, what water fountain I can't drink out of, and what school I can't go to. Choice is me having all the options open, and I'm choosing to take my black ass with Jubilee's black ass, and we're going to be over here because we feel seen and comfortable in that space. So, and I think you need that. I think one of the things I love about Chicago, in the city, it's like the Bay, it's like New York, it's everybody in the heart of the city. You drive out 10 minutes in either direction, you will run into Old Town, like an all Italian town, an all black town, a Caribbean town. And the beauty of it is that, some of that stuff is like a portrait in time where you get to kind of visit. I listen. Next time you out here, let's go get Italian in the Italian spot because it's the best there. It is incredible. When me and you linked up, we went to an Irish pub. That was a real Irish pub. You know what I'm saying? When you came to Chicago and we kicked it, right? Like, I like that. I like seeing that. I like being there. But I can move freely there. I can be there. They're welcoming to me. I'm welcoming to them. So what they are trying to get rid of, because here's the thing. They like segregation until it works against them. They closed down a charter school in Minnesota because there was a bunch of Ethiopian kids that went there. And it wasn't any white kids. So again, they start playing these games with names and tricks, but I want to start shifting the conversation now to how we can prepare people and what I think people should be doing. And I think this is where I talk about agency a lot. I'm telling you now, if you got a kid and you want them to go to college or you want them to go to grad school, and again, this administration won't be in power forever. They won't be in power forever, but while they are here, you have to think about these things and you have to have some kind of plan. That means you need to start looking at scholarships. That means you need to have some different conversations. And I'll also say this, if I could do college over again, and I wish I was the first in my family to go to college so my parents couldn't tell me this, I probably wouldn't major in poli-sci again. I probably wouldn't major in, I wouldn't let my child major in poetry. If I could do it again, I would major in something that is STEM. That is something that you can only get with that college degree, like an engineer, or if I'm trying to be a medical doctor. You can do any type of job and then end up going and being a teacher. You can major in anything and go and come and be a teacher. You can major in anything and be a politician. And I think that's the thing where my degree cost a lot more than it might have been worth, but it's put me in an overall position where I can do so many more things. So I'm forever grateful. Jube, I know you had to step away for a little bit. We were just, you can go with that question, or you can kind of just keep the convo over. Yeah, you can just keep the conversation. Just when you look at this, or if it's locked down a 2-tier system, you know, what are you thinking? What would you, how you're a mom with 2 boys that we adore here on this show, and one of them is about to go off to college and the other one ain't far behind. How are you looking at this stuff? How are you thinking?
I think connected to your point, I sent you that trade video earlier because I'm over here like, I don't want to be the mom that's like, hey guys, go on over and sign up for these CTE programs. Like, I want to still support you playing your drums and stomping and all the things. And like your future is bright, and it's also imminent. Like it's right here. And so I'm not gonna say I'm in a pickle as a mom, but it definitely does raise a level of like urgency that I have, you know, which I feel like is pretty intense already. Because what is it going to look like for you? Even when we talk about like scholarships, I have a feeling that what maybe used to receive scholarships, or what would make you eligible for a scholarship, will also be shifting too. Like, it's not only these things. I think it's the entire financial landscape, because of who's creating these rules and these laws. Like, I think the people that are creating these rules, these laws, this is not about the children. This is about another bottom line. So I don't think it's going to be benefiting any of the babies I pushed out into the world. Right. So I think I am going to be reading up on it and looking, more into it, because this is a problem. This is a problem. And I think the other piece for me is, again, I want my sons to be able to choose, what they do, what they go to school for. But I also know you have to be able to like provide for yourself and like live a life, And so, yeah, poetry's out, poli-sci's out, but like what is in? So it's like, how do I maintain that?
Maybe minor in them,
Maybe minor. I know, like, I took poli-sci for one day, but you know what I can say?
Poli-sci. I loved it.
Listen, my son, Sydney, the one that was on, he loves all things poli-sci, all things American government. Like, he had an AP teacher last year. He talks about that teacher like they are besties, and they about to go to the Irish pub on Friday. Mr. Moore told me, he was like, what about, did you see Trump's latest? Like, they talk about all the things all the time. He's very intrigued by it, But I think also, just talking about back to the trade thing, I think about my young Black men, like, what are your hands skilled to do? Because in this environment, I don't know what you're going to be able to, get an education that I don't know what you're going to be able to do with the way how things are looking right now. So now I need to open my mind up to more options that maybe 4 years ago I would not have been considering, So yeah.
That's what's up. And David, I mean, similar with you, your boy is right in between Jubilee's boys. First off, all the little the South Star kids is growing up and they out here in the world. I still try to use, the picture of David with his son when he's this big. David, don't let me. But it wins us. It wins us new contracts when I do it. But David, our little guy who ain't so little no more. How are you approaching this, and how are you thinking about these things? And I know you just heard some of it tonight.
I think. I mean, we always. I think the number one thing is like, finding something that you're passionate about and going for that. And that starts in like middle school, starts in high school. And so when time comes, which for us is coming in like a year and a half, getting very serious about this stuff is like, what are you actually passionate about? That's number one. And these are not conversations I had with my parents. I was like you, Charles. I had zero guidance. I got lucky. I ended up in a state system at a time when the state system of California, the UC, was still affordable. But I still ended up taking out loans for my post BA, graduate level studies. So I think that's number one. I think looking at affordability, to be honest, right? Like looking at like what's what's affordable, what's not affordable, how long is this going to take to pay you back, doing some work around that, and then figuring out where we're going to come up with the money. To be totally honest, I mean, it's not cheap, and I think that's the other thing. I mean, I don't know how we've created a system where public and private, like post K-12 college and universities, cost so much damn money.
Oh my God.
It's information. It's information. And now we've had the World Wide Web for however many decades. Now we have AI. Like you can create your own university system with AI, I mean, it's like, so I think there's going to be a lot of change on that front too. But our government's going to have to keep up with it, because, if they're going to be running programs that will provide loans and grants, they have to make sure that they're obviously using the money effectively. But again, I go back to the point. I think this latest change is going to, work directly against the pipelines that we know that we have been working on, the educators, principals, lawyers, doctors, healthcare workers, counselors, social workers, and that's going to take a long time to reverse. Steve Bannon's name came up earlier, so I just wanted to make sure that people know that
Jeff Sessions.
I've listened to a couple of his podcasts. In case you missed yesterday's podcast, episode 4,932, zombie cannibal gangs in Haiti.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the thing, though, right? Like,
that's crazy.
But this is the point, though. Them boys consistent. And this, listen, man, we are at a space where we think that we can make fun of these people. And I had a little joke at one of their expenses, but like, they here and they fighting and they ready. And this is how fights work. And I think I blame my generation on a lot of this, right? Because we're the anti-bully generation. Go ahead, David.
I'm wondering now that we're making this connection. What was the name of the blueprint for this second Trump administration? What's it called? Plan what?
Yeah, Project 2025, Brandon.
Project 2025.
So is this, I wonder if these changes that they're making to higher education grants and loans baked in some way to Project 2025. Yeah.
There's always gonna be a dotted line. And I mean, but here's and that's the thing, they told you the plan is right there. And again, this is why Omar and I caught a lot of heat. Well, I caught most of the heat because Omar don't know the people I know. But when we did our political episode and we were really critical of like the campaign before the campaign, we were like, yo, if you keep telling us how important this election is, why are y'all playing these games? Yo, step aside, bro. Like, you're supposed to be and we talked about this. We said that these things were going to come, and now we don't have, the skill to fight back the way. It's become very whiny. Like, be smart, be intentional, like have counter plans, have counter measures. Nikki asked me, I think it was just up there. Nikki asked me, do I think I would be a better STEM professional than a social justice? I think I would be a better STEM professional, to be honest with you. And the reason why is because I tend to land on facts and data. I like math. I like logic things. I think that the social justice, like this iteration of it, I think it's hurting. I think that a lot of things have been hurting because so many people are wanting to be celebrity social justice warriors that like they're not really focused on people, and it's too cushy. I think what David said is part of the problem with the quality of college education has drastically dropped. When we're arguing with physics professors and saying that the work is too hard, and they're like, it's physics, dog. Like, I can't make physics. I'm not changing physics for you. And when we started being afraid of other sides and other people coming on college campuses where you're supposed to exchange in free thought and different opinions, when we got kids saying, well, their speech is violence, when I come from a place of real violence, when like one of my best friends was murdered at like 13 years old, like from real violence. And I grew up in a neighborhood where people used to make fun of your mama and you just had to be funnier or fight. Like,
Yep.
That's
Yep.
part of the problem. The problem is you don't have a leg to stand on if all that other shit's not happening. If college is still doing what it needs to do, if it's still advancing us, if maybe the country wasn't 3 out of 10 of our students now could read on grade level, if we weren't becoming a more illiterate country by the day, maybe these things wouldn't have been able to take hold. Maybe if we didn't get bored listening to the news of what's happening in the White House to turn on some personal fucking reality TV drama and playing it out. Like there's culpability around, but those are the people in power. And that's what happens when people, it ain't fun when a rabbit got the gun. And when we had it, when liberals had it, we played with it in a lot of different ways or didn't get things codified, or you didn't codify Roe versus Wade. So that's why Roe versus Wade could get overturned. You know, hey, we went to a old girl. Hey, you old, Ruth. We love you, Ruth, but you old, boo. I'm still president. Barry, like I'm still president. Can I get I got to get a new justice in. Hillary gonna win. Hillary gonna win. I'm gonna do this to the end. All right, got it. So that's where we are right now. And again, it's such a wage gap. There's such a wealth gap in the left on the Democratic side that this shit not really kicking the way that it needs to, because a lot of our Democratic leadership is rich as fuck. There, now it's my fault too. I've lost us the sponsor too.
Man, they love the real talk, baby. Come on, man.
Look, man, look,
HBO gonna pick us up.
I'm just saying, man, I love me some Michelle Obama, man. I love the Obamas. I rock with them, but you can't go on TV and say certain things that you just said when it's like, yo, you're doing really, 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 really well right now. Like, I get it. Like, listen, all those people that did not get their SNAP benefits, I have those people in my family. I've been paying shit for the last 3 weeks. Like, I hear you. Well, man, y'all punked out. Y'all did this. Man, people were starving. People are starving. So it's there. We are too used to easy spoon-fed answers and solutions. In this moment, it calls for something greater, and it calls for actual sacrifice. And what I'm telling the people that's watching our show and the four of us, you got to have some kind of plan. I think you should go for college and learn how to install that damn air conditioner. Learn how to fix that toilet. I don't know why we act like we can't have scholarship and VOTEC stuff in our lives. Yeah. Omar, like fucking David talks about this all the time, man. Like, what's wrong with knowing philosophy and knowing how to fix a pipe in your house?
Yep.
I learned how inadequate I was when I bought this house. I am inadequate. So I think we got to have a multi-tier solution. But I know we had time, and people, I've been getting the messages, y'all. The messages have been, can y'all go longer? Can y'all do this? It's hard. These people work. It's professional. And y'all wanted us to keep having this camaraderie. So when we got an hour, but the thing is, we leave you wanting some more. So with that being said, we're going to wind down into final thoughts. Omar, why don't you kick it off? And David, you're on deck. But we hear you. We'll try to work something out. But damn it, you got to take the morsels we give you right now.
I would love to figure that out if we need to go another day or a little bit longer. But also, I'm always down for the After Dark episodes. I like the uncensored. I like going off on my rips.
But wait, oh my, you just changed. Your voice just changed a little bit when you said that. Can you do that again? When you said the After Dark, your voice went a little lower there.
Like, is he on Kiss FM right now? Is that what you're saying? He sound like he about to play the slow jams?
Yes, right, like Lenny Green. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's right. This is Omar and I at the Quiet Hour. We're going to play you the songs and hits that you want to hear, baby.
Omar, go ahead. Get your model on. Omar is our resident model. Hold on. Do it right, Omar. There you go. All you.
That's too much. Too much attention. Now you've embarrassed me and shit. This is Omar and R calling from the hotline tonight. You want to hear some sexy political talk? Just dial me. I have the face of a Muppet and a comedian. I appreciate the kindness of it all. My very quick final thought on this subject, because I know we got to go, is when you talk about what is supposedly the greatest country on earth, and yet the Canadians and the Europeans are beating the pants out of us when it comes to accessibility of college, we got something interesting going on. If this were about the education of the whole country, then why not make it the whole country? Because all I'm seeing, Doc, is more and more very specific programs that have echoes in history that I've read about that are trying to create that de facto, or excuse me, that de jure segregation without being de jure. How do we create that segregation without people knowing about it, wrap it up in a nice little present called rap, and give it to people, and they take it willingly because they've been convinced that this is for their greater good? Now, that is some duplicity and some insidious shit. And this is why we got a podcast, man. And this is why I hope our sponsors love the truth, because I think people are yearning for the truth and not a bunch of bullshit. Monster Energy, we're talking to you, baby. Come on. I'll drink that. I'll drink it in this voice.
I'm trying, man. David, you
Yeah.
know, and David, I'm sorry, man. We will be adults next week. I promise. On your show.
Oh, that's fine, man. You know, I don't think I have too much to add. I think given the changes that are happening, what I'm thinking about is how this changes the game of like high school counseling, you know, for counselors, you know, making sure that, you know, counselors that are working in school systems that serve students that have been, you know, historically furthest away from opportunity are aware of these changes, talking about, you know, course selection, talking about financial aid decisions, bringing families in to have these conversations as they always have. Mm-hmm. But it seems like the game is changing away from like, you know, they always, I didn't really like the language of this, but counselors would say like, do a list of your dream schools. Yeah. And then your this schools and then your safety schools. Yeah. And I'm like, well, you know what? Your dream schools are going to have you living your dreams for a long time because they're going to be very expensive, right? Without that kind of financial aid. So I think, you know, just being real about like, what's it going to cost? What are your prospects, you know, post-graduation? Like how much money are you going to make? How long is this thing going to take you to pay off? You know, even before you accept any money or accept, you know, attendance, you know, to any particular university. So that's kind of where my head is now, but man, it's crazy. I mean, this definitely seems like some next level, like gatekeeping under the guise of, you know, trying to run efficient government and protect people. I think the intended consequences here, you know, are not positive for people like us. But again, like, you know, who knows, in like 2 years, is it 2 years or 3 years? We can have an election and there's a whole new administration. And what do? They go back and like reverse all the stuff again. So it feels like we're on this big, like
pendulum swing, overcorrection.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's gonna overcorrect both ways. And listen, it ain't promised that we win the next one either. So let's be clear about that. Jude, your final thoughts, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about my babies, you know, thinking about our babies. And I think about the fact that, like, yeah, I have a few degrees and I also sing. And there's a church, there's a gig that'll pay me however much money to sing alto in a group, right? And I think about, you know, all the things I've taught my sons in growing up. It's like you can't just have this one track or one pathway, right? And I think that is becoming more and more necessary, right? To your earlier point, Charles, like what else can you do? So I think for me, I'm going to try to keep my sons far away from needing loans as possible, you know, because here goes Meadow. Here she goes. Sorry. Okay.
Stay focused. It's all good. Meadow said, I'm the star.
That girl was barking for an hour and a half. I mean, she's the GOAT when it comes to barking. But yeah, so for me, I want to keep them as far away from needing loans as possible. I also think in hindsight, like knowing that there are many parents that sign those like parent plus loans and things like that. And I think sometimes that comes with a hard conversation that I ain't going to be doing that. Like we live in the state of Maryland. You got an address in Maryland. You got an address in New York. pick a school in one of them 2 states, right? And just thinking about how to like lower the cost for college to make sure you go to a great school, but that it also is not putting us in the hole. Because the answer to that, the last question that you had up there in terms of not just the experience of having to pay when you're in college, possibly have to work your way through college, but then when you're done with college, having to work extra hard to pay for life and to pay off your loans. Like that's a real thing. To me, it's like another form of slavery, you know? So these are the things that are circulating in my head. So I think the long and short of it is I'll try to be keeping my babies away from needing the loans, try to get them as many scholarships as possible, but also have them tap into multiple streams of income, get that certification and whatever, while also building up whatever your skill set is through your college education.
Yeah, I just appreciate y'all, you know, seeing. I have 2 things that I look forward to every week is you all, and it's my Black Men's Book Club that I've been a part of, a form of it since I was 19 years old. And those 2 things, you know, they keep me grounded throughout the week. So I appreciate y'all being here. Listen, for my final thought, I expounded on this a little bit more on color commentary just because it's just the structure allows it to. So just go look up color commentary either on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Is there. The team told me I have to pump it better because I'm terrible at that. My final thought here, though, is like, you know, I know we didn't get a chance to go as deep as we wanted to, and there's so much more conversation here. What I would tell everybody out there listening is you need to go read into this and pay attention to it and think about the unintended but really intended consequences of it. And I also think, you know, pay attention to what's happening at the Department of Education. There's about to be some major changes. It's happening. They told you what they were going to do. And I think we can complain about it, and sometimes we just like to be right in an argument, as opposed to like doing the things that need to happen to change those things. And I think that has to change because there's real people, maybe not the 4 of us per se, maybe people in our family, but there's a lot of people that's going to be impacted by a lot of these things.
Yeah, man.
And it just, but you got to be informed. You got to want the information. If you got a cell phone, you got access to so much information. You really got to choose where you get what information you look at. You have to be aware of the news. You can't put your head in the sand on this stuff. But I will just say, man, as we talk about this, I'm so grateful to being in this country in the sense of the fact that I got to do these things. There's not a lot of places where you can go from going to 11 elementary schools, living in 4 shelters, 2 parents in and out of jail, being homeless, friends getting murdered, friends getting killed, a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, drug addled parents, from where you can go from that to being a doctor. There's a lot of countries where you are born into a caste and you die into that caste. And so even though this is a racist place at times, has a very racist history and it was built on it, you know, I exercise my rights as an American. Like he started off talking about the Second Amendment. Don't come to this house. Don't come to this house with no foolishness. I don't want no problems. I'm afraid of them problems. And because I'm afraid you might get shot, I use my voice, and we use freedom of speech like we do right here. Even when Omar got to cuss y'all out, right? Like we exercise those things. There are amendments and there's bills of rights and there's a constitution that we all benefit from. And it would behoove us to know how that works. And I will end on this. Huey P. Newton and his good friend, they started the Panthers in a library at the old Laney College when Laney used to be, in Merritt College when Merritt used to be in North Oakland. And the way that they started is Huey P. Newton was reading law books, just reading them, and learned that you can have a pistol. I mean, you can have a rifle. In California, you can walk around with a shotgun and rifle. And he went to the Capitol with some other people that were organized. And that's the only time the NRA was in favor of changing gun laws. What I'm telling you
scared the hell out of them.
Is knowledge is power. But you got to have some knowledge and you got to have some balls to utilize that power. And you can be right on these screens. You can be right on these phones. You can be right on Twitter. But what are you doing in real life and who's benefiting from it? And that's for me included. So with that being said, man, we thank you. Thank you for joining us. Join us next week. Actually, next week is Thanksgiving, I think.
We're off for Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yeah. So
2 weeks from now, baby.
When I don't know my dates. I ain't got no family like that, bro. I be chilling. So I don't know when the holiday is. Something, we might be doing an episode. We might not. I have no idea. But in the meantime, you all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. To our guests that came and showed up, thank you for commenting. Bill, we missed you. We definitely noticed.
Bill, where you at?
We pissed Bill off. I think Bill said, "Stop policing me and letting Omar cuss everybody out." He want to cuss Trump out too.
Come back, Bill. We missed you.
Bill, we love you. To Nikki,
yeah, we do love Bill, man.
To Cindy, to Nikki, to everybody that was in the comments. Thank you, and we'll see you all next time. God bless. Peace out.